Hey, beautiful friends, it's Marnie Martin, and welcome to this episode of Life is Delicious. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur, best-selling author, foodie, and voiceover artist, and I created the Life is Delicious podcast with one simple mission in mind: to help you add more flavor to your life and to help you write your own recipe for a life that feeds your soul. I'm so glad you're here. First, before we get started, I know that it is a great big noisy world out there, and the fact that you have carved out a little bit of time for yourself to be here with me, it is truly an honor. And if you're new here, welcome to the Life is Delicious family. Today on our show, we have the accomplished Sarah Martin McConnell, singer-songwriter from Nashville, Tennessee. She has graced stages all over the country, from the famous Bluebird Cafe to the Ryman Auditorium and all the way to the WeWork Global Summit in LA. In 2007, she founded a nonprofit organization called Music for Seniors, and I am delighted to have her on the show. Welcome, Sarah.
Happy holidays. Thank you for having me.
Tell us how Music for Seniors was born, as I know it was something that was sort of an organic thing that came to you.
It was the universe speaking to me. My mom was blown to Nashville by Hurricane Katrina, and she had just been about 6 weeks ago, before then, diagnosed with mid-stage Alzheimer's. My family, my sisters and my brothers, we were trying to decide, how we were going to take care of mom. She lived on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and then the hurricane made the decision for us. And mother came to stay with my husband and me, and she lived with us for the last 6 years of her life. Wow. And one day she attended an adult day services program because it became clearly evident that mom couldn't sit home all day every day. So she started attending a wonderful program where they fed them lunch and fed them breakfast, and they had activities. And I said to the director, I want to bring my guitar and my dulcimer and do sing-alongs. And it was so much fun, and it was so well received, and we had such a ball that I went every month. And one day I walked out of a session, and it was like a light bulb went off. It was truly a download that this needed to be a concerted effort to connect all of the talented musicians in Nashville with the isolated older adults in our community. And Music for Seniors was born in my head. I mean, it took a lot more to get it up and running and to find the funding but it was a journey that I was passionate about and I loved, and I fostered its growth for 16 years. January 2023, I passed the baton to a fantastic new leadership team, and they are taking it to the next level. The organization has here in Nashville, and then we have our first affiliate program in Knoxville, Tennessee. But I think Music for Seniors needs to be all over the country and beyond, because there are talented musicians and underserved, isolated older adults everywhere.
That's amazing. I know this originally started as a way to spread joy and foster connection, but over time, you found some very tangible health benefits that became apparent. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. As I got deeper and deeper into the journey and did more research, and as the research was unfolding over the last, 18 years, it's been found that music particularly and the arts generally are amazing ways for older adults to keep their brains engaged, to stay connected with others. And music taps so many parts of ourselves, our memories, our cognitive ability. We hear it, we speak it, we sing it. The research that really started me on the journey for looking at all of the research was a professor in Chicago who found that people, older adults who studied music or who were in a music program, could hear better when they were in a restaurant, for example, and there was lots of ambient noise in the background. Have you ever been with an aunt or a mom and they say, I can't hear you? In a music program now, they can hear better in that noise because their ear is trained to follow the line, like almost like a melody line. So the conversation line, that was just one thing. More and more and more, the research is unfolding to show the magic, absolute magic of active engagement in music and music making.
At one point, you had an experience with your own mom who, because of her Alzheimer's, was not able to articulate that she was hungry. And you found a beautiful way to engage with her. What happened there?
Well, I said, oh my gosh, Mom, it's time for dinner. I'm so sorry. So I went and I started supper, and there's a counter right by my stove, and I was making supper, and I started singing, shine on, harvest moon, up in the sky. And Mom was standing there and she sang with me, I ain't had no loving since January, February, June, or July. This is my mom who seconds ago had not been able to say, hey, I'm hungry, where's supper? And yet she could sing those words to one of her favorite songs. And our musicians at Music for Seniors get that kind of feedback all the time. You know, my mom can't remember my name. She can't remember much of anything, but you start singing her favorite songs and she sings along.
And she remembers the lyrics and can access that part of her brain, which is totally fascinating.
It's totally magical. And they light up. Just that's the only way I can describe it. They just light up with the music. It's like something connects. And that's also true with the musicians who provide the music, you know, who are there to engage. It is just such a win-win, and it's a win for the whole bigger community because it connects us in a way that we weren't connected before in a significant, organized manner.
Was it difficult to get musicians on board at first, or did you find people were excited right off the bat about this initiative?
You know, I started with a couple of dear friends who helped me, and as word spread, it just grew and grew, and musicians were very excited to do it. Most musicians, you know, not everyone, because it's not about going and doing a performance. It's not about being on stage. It's about engaging and providing a conduit for sharing and back and forth. So you take requests and you try to do the music that they love. But we have hundreds of musicians now participating. We pay them. Music for Seniors pays musicians to do this important community work. It's not a volunteer.
That's amazing. Now, I know Music for Seniors originally started out as a nonprofit and remained that way through your time there. But you had an extraordinary opportunity to get a large sum of funding through the WeWork Global Summit. I watched your TED Talk and your YouTube video, and your enthusiasm was so infectious. I truly don't know how they could have not given you that funding. Tell us how that story unfolded.
Oh my gosh. You know, as a nonprofit executive, I had to write lots of grants, and everything that came through, I would look, and I saw this WeWork coming to Nashville to do a grant award, a creator award. And I thought, I need to apply to that. And so I did. And this actually happened in Nashville in September of 2019. So I sent in it was a really long, involved application, and I didn't hear, and I didn't hear, and I didn't hear. And I was like, well, I mean, it was coming in like 2 days. I reached out to them and said, hey, I sent in an application and I sent in my 30-second video elevator pitch. What about me? You know, did you? And within moments I got, oh, thank you so much for applying, but we were not able to, move you forward. Well, at first I was like, "Whoa." But actually it was a public event. It was open. It was for free. It was a free, wonderful event that they put together to connect people. And I said to my husband that afternoon, I said, Mickey, we're going to go and I'm going to sit in the front row when they do their presentation and I'm going to figure out how I can be on that stage next time they come. We had a great time. They had booths set up for people to connect. They had food and drinks. And I mean, it was a beautiful day. And we got in line and I went right down to the front. And Ashton Kutcher came on stage to warm up the crowd. And then Adam Newman came on stage. He is the founder of WeWork, did so much good for so many organizations and so much good work in the world, really and truly. But he said, okay, I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to ask two people from the audience to, and I didn't even wait. I just went, I was the first one out of my seat. And I'm telling you, Marnie, from then on, I just knew it was going to happen.
That is amazing.
It was one of those crazy moments of perfect flow. I knew that I was meant to be there. I knew that it was going to happen. And you can see the whole thing on YouTube. But when I came back to my seat, I turned to my husband. We were both in tears. And I said, do you realize that everything has just changed? Nothing will be the same. And it was really a huge boon for the organization and gave me so much opportunity to amplify the organization's work. It was so exciting.
That's amazing. And if you get the chance to check it out on YouTube, I will make sure to put the link in the show notes for sure. And it was a significant cash award, too.
$50,000. That was the largest grant. It was actually an award. It was an award. It was a creator award to me to be used for Music for Seniors, but it was the biggest gift we had gotten to date.
That's incredible. So, Sarah, from all of your experience, what types of things can our listeners do to engage their elderly parents, neighbors, and or grandparents if they don't have access to a program like Music for Seniors?
It's really just as simple as finding out what their favorite music is, singing songs with them, singing hymns with them, even if you don't sing well, or turn on their favorite record, Tommy Dorsey or whatever, and jitterbug. My mom and dad loved to dance. They taught us all how to jitterbug. So when my mother was having really anxious moments and I needed to distract her, which is a fantastic tool for people with dementia and Alzheimer's, there's a phenomenon known as sundowner syndrome. As the day wears on, they seem to get more and more agitated. So I would say, come on, Mom, let's dance. And we'd turn on a Tommy Dorsey record and dance, or she loved to tap dance. We both had tap shoes. Or even if they love to snap or clap, you can have them keep time with the rhythm. Anything to encourage engagement and to help them find the joy of the music they love.
And I guess you could also use percussion instruments or even help them to pick up an old instrument that they played in the past. I know my dad used to play boogie woogie on the piano when he was in college. And I think he still has a ukulele, so I'll have to work on that.
Yes. If they played, that stays too. There are amazing stories of folks who don't speak anymore, but they can still play the piano like crazy and sing and entertain. Truly, truly magical. We all know that, but now the scientific research is showing us why the synapses in the brain and how it all comes back. It really is an amazing phenomenon.
Well, isn't that an amazing blessing that you got to be a part and to help create something so beautiful?
I am, yes, totally a blessing and totally unexpected. That was the crazy thing about it. I used to say, first of all, I had the best job in the whole world. And secondly, that I was really put on this earth to launch Music for Seniors because it is such a good thing to connect musicians with older adults, no matter where you live.
Sarah, I couldn't agree more. Now, I know that you recently passed on the baton and your new leadership team is going to pick up where you left off and keep your good work going. And you are moving on to other things.
Thank you. That's a great segue into what I'm doing now. And when I was leaving Music for Seniors, many people I'd worked with over the years reached out to me. And the executive director of the Dementia Society sent me a short email. And it said, Sarah, congratulations on your rewirement. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm rewiring. It's been a process. You know, you work so hard your whole life and you have deadlines and you have people, you've got a board to report to and you've got all this work to do. And I was going 1,000 miles an hour. Then January 1, I had no more responsibilities. And I think this happens to a lot of older adults. So one of the things that I did, and this is interesting because you're in Canada, I had just read Travels with Charlie by John Steinbeck. Okay. And I threw my Charlie, my Georgie Beagle, into the back of my Volkswagen convertible. And we drove all the way from Nashville to Black's Harbor, Canada. You know, it was a journey of the mind and the heart. And also it was a way to honor a real shift in my life. One of my dear friends, Charlie McCoy, who is an amazing Nashville cat. He's on everybody's album. He told me he's older than I am. He's he's in his 80s. And he said, I walk an hour every day. I said, you're kidding me. That is so inspiring. So I did that. It was an angst-ridden process, you know, because there you are again. Now what?
A lot of my friends are going through that right now or are getting really close to moving into the next phase of their life. And I know for a few of them, the idea of actually not working is kind of daunting.
Absolutely. And that's the trick, is redefining what gets you out of bed in the morning. Staying engaged and having purpose and having flow, you know, doing things that you enjoy just because you enjoy them. They connect us, they bring us happiness, they feed our mind, they feed our hearts, and we discover lots of new things about ourselves.
I think that's a wonderful way of looking at retiring. I think what's so important is that whether or not we want to grow and change, we are going to anyway. So why not do it with intention for continuing to create a life that we love, whether we're working or not? Our work is not the only thing that defines us, but often we get so attached to the identity that our work gives us that we forget we were just human beings long before we had an occupation.
And I don't want to be Pollyanna about this because it's not an easy thing to do, but it's a choice. And I'm not going to retire. I'm going to rewire. I'm going to find my new self.
I love that. And I do think that's the goal, to be happy with ourselves and how we show up in the world.
I just think it's wonderful because I'm so much smarter and wiser, maybe not smarter, but
I think that's what I personally find to be so much fun about being in midlife. We have some real skin in the game, and we're wiser and so much more in tune with what we love to do and what we no longer want to do or want to put up with. We care so much less about what people think of us, which is awesome, because it's none of our business anyway. And we're less likely to need the whole world's approval before we decide to do something.
Absolutely. And this is one of my favorites. I love Joseph Campbell. And in his interviews with Bill Moyers, he said, you know, when you follow your bliss, no matter what stage of life you're in, and that's my parentheses, the universe lifts you up and gives you wings because you are following what is in your heart. And I have found that to be so my whole life.
And on that note, let's talk about your return to your own music as a part of your own rewiring with your brand new Christmas single, Every Heart Goes Home for Christmas.
Yeah, I am coming back to my catalog of music and I'm going to start putting it out into the universe. This is a My Christmas song is a precursor to a collection of songs I'm going to release after the first of the year. It's a collection, an album called Love Songs to the Universe.
Oh, I love that. Well, I will definitely look forward to that. And you can find Sarah's new song on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, Apple Music, or anywhere you listen to your music. The link will also be listed in the show notes for you so you don't miss it. It has been such an honor to have you here as my guest, Sarah, and I wish you a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, I would love it if you would share this with someone you love. And please make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if no one has told you today, there is not one person on this planet that is exactly like you. And the world is a better place because you are here. So thank you for being here. Don't go away quite yet. We're going to close out the show with Sarah Martin McConnell's new Christmas classic, Every Heart Goes Home for Christmas. Happy holidays, and I'll see you next time on Life is Delicious.
Every heart goes home for Christmas, no matter how far. Flying home on sweet memory to Mom in the kitchen, to trimming the tree. Christmas Day, every heart goes home for Christmas, like a child once more. Fond reminiscences of every childhood scene, of family Christmases and the smell of evergreen. Laughter rings out and a teardrop falls for those remembered, and prayers of peace for all. It's the time of year every heart can hear, a song of love sung far and every heart goes home for Christmas, 'cause with Christmas in the